Hey everybody, John Osborne here. You can follow me on StockTwits and Twitter under the name TraderJohnO. Let's do the FX educational outlook for Thursday, May 11th, 2017. We'll start out looking at the pound yen. You can see that we're moving up towards this previous pivot high here on the daily of 148.447. You can see it here on the weekly. And as we expected, we are struggling to get above that point and pulling back a little bit. So what we want to do is watch possibly this trend line here. It's a little iffy on whether or not we have enough of a pivot here. We could potentially draw in a better pivot across these highs, if that makes more sense, and maybe go for this one. But we've got to break above these lines and before we can move higher here, and we'll watch for that. It could be that we're just going to bounce off of that and head back down, but we're still looking pretty strong on the MACD for weekly and a little bit strong still on the daily. So let's see what happens there. For the pound Swissy, you can see we bounced off similarly off this triple top that we had here, and we've pulled back down again. But we're still looking bullish on our daily and our weekly, so we're going to keep an eye out for another way for this one to move higher. So we're still going to hold out for a little bit longer and being bullish, a bullish stance on that one. With the dollar Swissy, we've broken above the daily trend line here and can't get above this previous pivot of 1.01069. You can see that strong breakout here on the weekly. Although our weekly isn't looking very bullish at all, it's looking quite bearish, but our daily's got some pretty good strength here. So what we're going to do is watch this consolidation channel that we have on the 120 and see which direction it's going to break out. For the Aussie yen, we've got this bit of a mini trend line heading up here. You can see we've made an attempt to go higher, and then we couldn't quite get as high, and we've moved back down towards the trend line. So we've been watching this trend line for quite a while here on the weekly. We could see us start to move back down in that area and watch for a potential breakthrough there. So I drew in this trend line here on the daily. We'll see if we can watch for a potential breakout, and that's around the 83.228 point. If not, it resumes going higher. We'd be going up through this line here at 84.141. So let's see what happens with that one. More on the bearish side, we've got the Aussie US dollar. We're still moving down with some decent bearishness here. You can see we're running into a little bit of a support here and maybe a little mini uptrend that we've got here that we can break down through as we do a little bit of a descending triangle here. But we got to keep in mind this 0.72862 as support. If we can break through that, we might see a nice run down to this low. So let's keep an eye on that one as a potential bearish break. And also notice on our pound loonie, we went up and touched the 200 bar moving average on the weekly. Now that's a lot of weeks, but maybe some other traders are watching this line. It's just interesting that we're right at that point, and now we're sitting on this support here at 1.76227, which we did break. So maybe we need to be watching for the 175.755. And if we can break through that, we can watch for a potential move further down, because we're looking bearish even on the daily here now. So let's see if we can start that move back down again and watch what happens. And I just also wanted to point out the Aussie Swissy. We were watching this moving up here, this bounce off here, staying within these two support and resistance lines. And I wanted to point out that we now have a bit of a pennant pattern happening on the 120 and 240 that we can watch. So we can see what's happening as momentum starting to die out here, whether we can break above or below. I'm starting to wonder if it's going to move a little bit lower here based on the weekly. But we'll keep an eye on this one. Keep in mind that 0.72413 is still below us there as the first target if we can move lower. And that'll do it for today. We'll catch up with you the next time.